from one of the biggest bottle jobs in Premier League history to creating a dynasty that will rule over English football for several years, Arteta and Arsenal mean business. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Tea Time channel, where today we're going to be discussing Arsenal's post-season, what they've done since the end of the 2022-23 season, and how they are creating a team that will become a dynasty in English football. The 2022-23 season saw the North London outfit defy all expectations and mount a serious title charge for a prolonged period of time. Arsenal's refreshing youth and unmatched chemistry saw them lead the Premier League for a total of 248 days. Nevertheless, Arsenal's youth led to them crumbling under the relentless pressure, and Manchester City inevitably won their 5th Premier League title in just 6 seasons. Despite this all-time disappointment, Mikel Arteta, Edu Gaspar, the Arsenal board, have decided to shift the narrative from all-time low to potential jubilation through extending some of their key players' contracts, transfer rumours which are very ambitious, and making ambitious transfer deals. Arsenal this off-season have really looked like a team that is creating a dynasty in English football. Let's talk about contracts. With Arsenal having the second youngest team in the Premier League in the 22-23 season, only just older than Southampton, who came last, it's quite fascinating that they actually managed to mount a serious title charge against Manchester City. Not only did this youthfulness mean that they were less susceptible to properly dealing with the pressure, but it also meant that the players, key players in the likes of Gabriel Martinelli, Bukayo Saka and more, were not tied down to contracts with big wages. This, of course, would mean that the players would want to potentially move elsewhere to earn a little bit more cash for their hard work. Also, Arsenal's contracts were not very long-term at the time, and then Arteta decided that this is something that must be addressed in the off-season. Since the start of the 22-23 season, Gabriel Martinelli and Gabriel Magalhaes both had their contracts extended until at least 2026. However, since the end of the 22-23 season, Arteta has seriously knuckled down on signing contracts. The likes of Bukayo Saka, Aaron Ramsdale and William Saliba, 3 players who were key for Arsenal this season, all have signed long-term deals until at least 2027. Next on the list is Reiss Nelson, who is virtually moments away from signing that contract till 2027. And then after that is club captain Martin Odegaard, whose contract runs out in 2025. Now, most people would say, off-season, it's the transfer window, we need to go sign some players. Whilst Arsenal are also doing that on the side, they're also prioritizing the demands and the wishes of their current players. That gives 3 positive impacts on the club by first focusing on contract negotiations and contract renewals, then transfer business. What it does is increase morale and confidence for the players of the club. When Saka, Ramsdale, Saliba, Nelson and Odegaard all have contracts extended in the off-season, not only does it mean that they know that they are being prioritized, it means that Arteta and the board have full confidence in them to lead Arsenal where they want to go. That's great for player morale, a huge boost for their confidence. Not only that, it obviously keeps a tight and quality group of players together. Arsenal cannot be letting the likes of Martin Odegaard, Saliba, Saka go. These guys are 100 million plus players, and players who are really important in the locker room, but also on the pitch, of course. The third thing it does is that it gives fans something to believe in the future. Of course, fans want to see new players arrive at the club, fill in holes and gaps that their team is missing. However, when fan favourites are being rewarded for their work on the pitch, it means that it gives the fans a belief, something that they can really aspire for, something that they can long for. As an Arsenal fan myself, I see these contracts and I say, wow, Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard, they're not going to be sold. There's not going to be a situation like Cesc Fabregas, Robin van Persie, where we make them big members of our club, big deals for us, and then we sell them to Barcelona, to Man United, some of our biggest rivals. It gives confidence for the fans as well as the players. Let's talk about Arsenal's arrivals. Of course, if we're talking about Arsenal's transfer business, the first name must be Declan Rice. Declan Rice always looks like he's looking for a move away, and it finally looks like he's going to get it. West Ham has been heavily linked with Manchester City, Manchester United, but it looks like Arsenal is his preferred destination for the 2023-24 season. Of course, there's no denying how much quality Declan Rice has in his locker. At 24 years old, he's already played 43 English caps, which is the 13th most amongst active players. He also just won the Conference League with West Ham and received Conference League Player of the Season. As of recording this video, Fabrizio Romano, very reliable journalist, has reported that Arsenal have had an £80 million fee rejected. Today, Arsenal submitted a £75 million with 15 million add-ons, 90 total, which is expected to be rejected because West Ham want at least £100 million. Arsenal seem to be very, very confident. They're not worried about Manchester City, who are the most likely team to swoop in on the deal. Another name Arsenal are looking at is Kai Havertz. Despite this transfer story bringing up a lot of question marks from Arsenal fans and the media alike, it clearly shows Arteta's ambition to further deepen the squad with quality Premier League players. Thus, just like with Declan Rice, the personal terms are not going to be a problem for Kai Havertz. He has already made it known that he wants to play for Arsenal. Chelsea wants £75 million. Arsenal are not going to offer that at all. The current deal is £60 million being offered. £65 million could be a more realistic number to will Chelsea to sell the 24-year-old German. Now, of course, this is a lot of money for someone who has only got the most 11 goal contributions in one season since joining Chelsea. However, Kai Havertz could flourish in the Arsenal system as a free-flowing number 9 who has the flexibility and the freedom to move around the pitch, pick up the ball wherever he wants and half-turn. It could give something for the Champions League winner to hope for, and it could mean that he could potentially play well in an Arsenal jersey. Other names Arsenal are currently looking at are Jurrien Timber, who they bid £30 million for. Ajax won at least 50, and also Romeo Lavia. There's been no offer made from the Gunners, but Southampton know that there is heavy interest from Arsenal. Arsenal's transfer ambition. Even with the players who Arsenal look most likely to sign, the 4 we've already mentioned, Arsenal have also had a lot of rumours coming about where they are potentially going to pick up some of Europe's finest footballers. Not only does it show that they're willing to show an interest in Europe's best, it means that Arteta, Edu Gaspar and the Arsenal board are ambitious. They want to make this squad better. They want to create better depth for Arsenal to compete with Man City's depth, with other teams in the Champions League's depth next season. The names of players who Arsenal have been slightly linked with this off-season have been Cancelo, Gundogan, Caicedo, Moussa Diaby, Mark Gay, and Xavi Simons. A lot of players who have that real raw quality. Some of them are younger, some of them are a little bit older and provide experience, but all proven quality players who could play a serious part in Arsenal's future. Of course, these guys aren't likely to sign for the Gunners, but again, I just wanted to reiterate the transfer ambition that Arsenal are showing. Arsenal departures. Of course, with 4 likely Arsenal arrivals, there need to be some people moving on from North London. It looks like that club legend, and yes, I said club legend, Granit Xhaka will be leaving Arsenal for £15 million. He's going to go to Bayer Leverkusen. That's pretty much wrapped up, but that deal will happen once the Declan Rice deal officially happens. In the recent days, there's been news that Thomas Partey might be on the way to Saudi Arabia as a part of Saudi Arabia's takeover of football. Loanees Balogun and Nicolas Pepe are probably not going to be brought back to the club. Nicolas Pepe does not fit the Arsenal system, so Arteta has no intention of keeping him, and Balogun wants first-team football, but he's third-string striker behind Eddie Nketiah and Gabriel Jesus, so it is unlikely that he will get many minutes playing an Arsenal jersey. How Arsenal could look next season. Now, I've created a depth chart with the most likely ins and outs for Arsenal in this post-season transfer window. We've got the four ins that we discussed, Rice, Havertz, Timber, and Lavia, and we've got two significant outs in the likes of Partey and Xhaka. I'll put it on screen. In goal, we've got Ramsdale and Turner. Right back, White, Tomiyasu, Saliba, Timber, Gabriel Kiwior, Zinchenko, and Tierney. Through the middle, you've got Lavia, Jorginho, Rice, Smith Rowe, Odegaard, Vieira, Martinelli, Trossard, Jesus Nketiah, Saka, and Nelson. Now, of course, there could be other players coming back from loan, other youth players getting a chance, the likes of Sambi Lokonga and Charlie Patino. They're not included in this, but they could very much get first-team football next season. Now, the question that you've been asking, why do I think Arsenal are properly building a dynasty? I think the first reason is the ages of their transfer business. Now, a lot of people will look towards the 2021-2022 transfer window, preseason transfer window, to say that was Arsenal's peak transfer window, the one that really set the tone for their future. That's the transfer window where they signed Odegaard on a permanent. They brought in Benjamin White for £50 million, Aaron Ramsdale, and a few other players. For me, that was a turning point for the club. But this off-season, this transfer window, if they bring in the likes of Rice, Havertz, Timber, and Lavia, this will be a statement transfer window from Arsenal, that they've spent big in two prior transfer windows, but they're willing to spend even more to bring even more squad depth. If we're looking at the age of the players they're bringing in, Rice is 24 years old, Havertz is 24, Timber's 22, and Lavia is 19. Of course, they've already got so much quality, but they will improve so much more with the future. They really fit the age memo and the age identity of Arsenal right now. Second reason Arsenal are creating a dynasty, pretty similar to the first one, to do with age, but of their current players. The likes of Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard, Martinelli. Those were three of Arsenal's best players this season, and they were all nominated for Young Player of the Season. They're all just going to improve and get better and gain more experience. I'll say this is the second biggest reason why Arsenal are creating a dynasty. They've addressed the depth problem. What happened in the 2022-23 season? Why did Arsenal fall away? A big issue could have been Saliba's injury. With 10-12 games left in the season, Saliba got injured and Arsenal had to play Holding for a significant period of time. Holding, of course, is not a quality player that you want in a title race. Maybe he's a Premier League quality player, but Arsenal did not need him. The signing of Vieira and Timber will give you that chance to have a centre-back who is quality, proven quality, and who can play against the big teams in big pressure situations. They've also addressed problems in CDM, if they sign Lavia and Rice, of course. Arsenal looked dreadful in moments this season without Thomas Partey. Now, they've got Declan Rice, arguably one of the premier Premier League CDMs, and arguably one of the premier CDMs in the world, and Lavia, another young guy who can be trusted in the Premier League, which was proven this season for Southampton. The biggest reason why Arsenal have created a dynasty, or are looking like they're going to create a dynasty, is that they've experienced a title charge. Much like the 21-22 season, when they experienced a top 4 battle for the first time in 3 seasons, Arsenal fell away. They finished 5th behind Tottenham. This year they finished 2nd behind City for 1st. Each season they're falling just shy of what they could get, of their huge goal. They're learning how to deal with these high pressure moments. They learned how to deal with getting Champions League and they went and did it. Now they've learned how to deal with a title challenge. They've got that experience. Maybe they won't know how to deal with the pressure just yet, but they know what the pressure is. Oh my gosh, we're 1 game ahead of Man City. We're 6 points ahead of Man City. We just lost a game and they won a game. They're catching up on us. They'll know what that pressure is, and hopefully they'll start to learn how to adapt with it and how to deal with it. I think Arsenal's squad right now could be compared to Liverpool's squad in the 2017-2018 season. The 2017-2018 season saw Liverpool lose the Premier League by just 1 point to Manchester City. Of course, it's not exactly comparable because Arsenal's players are a little bit younger, but that season, Liverpool's star players, Van Dijk, Alisson, Salah, Firmino, Mane, Robertson, Trent, they were all under the age of 26. So they still hadn't hit their peak, hadn't hit their prime, and they hadn't had those competitive years where they learned how to deal with the pressure. What did they do the next season? They won the Premier League. I really believe that Arsenal can learn from this season, learn from dealing with the title challenge, and apply what they've learned, apply their new knowledge, and potentially challenge for more Premier League titles. Of course, it's going to be difficult to beat Manchester City and their powerhouse of a team, but I truly, truly think that Arsenal are building a dynasty that will win a Premier League trophy in the next 2 seasons. Let me know what you guys think. Comment down below, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching Tea Time. Don't go changing.